Well, first off, thank you very much to the Aleem folks for inviting me here to speak. And Dr. Rashid, this is big steps to fill to come up right after you. Very inspiring speech that you gave today. And I think everybody here that is attending and listening to Dr. Rashid will walk away and saying that, you know, there's a lot of issues in this world today. A tremendous amount of issues. The 21 key points that you listed today all have some aspect to do with each one of us. We all play a part in this business. And Dr. Rashid had mentioned that, you know, can you think of any influential people that you've met in the world? And he put pictures up of 3 people there. But I had the privilege in 1990 of meeting Nelson Mandela. And I can remember sitting beside him on an airplane flying from Mbani, Swaziland, to Johannesburg. And he still was not the leader of South Africa at that point. And he was so interested why I was in Swaziland. Swaziland, for some of you, is a very small country, right? But I was there leading a water development project for 3 years. Drilled the Canadian government, I'm Canadian, we drilled 200 water wells. And we mapped the country of water, and we set up potable water systems for schools, hospitals, communities. And I was the last person to leave that project in late 1990, December of 1990. And lo and behold, sitting beside me on the airplane, flying out from the airport in Mbani, Matsapa, was Nelson Mandela. And I can still remember his kind words, and he said, "Water is everything. Water is everything." And I've never forgotten that. So, you know, it reminded me, thank you, Dr. Rashid, for, you know, we meet influential people all the time in our lives, but what do you remember of what they told you, what you said? Anyway, so my presentation is a little bit different. I was told we're supposed to talk about water, so we're going to talk about water a little bit today. Before we get started, though, I've got several questions to ask everybody. And Dr. Rashid actually stole the show a little bit on me because he stole one of my questions. But anyway, we'll have to coordinate this a bit better next time, I guess. But first off, I want everybody just to think about this. I've got 6 or 7 questions here. The first question is, which country or countries will be running out of water very soon? In the next 5, 10, 15 years. Do you know which countries? Can anybody name one? India? India's on the list, yeah. Anybody else? Saudi? South Africa? Yemen? Egypt? Yeah, and they got the Nile River. Yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it? So we've got the next 20, 30 years, very, very challenging times ahead of us with water conservation and water management, as was alluded to earlier. Second question, and this is where Dr. Rashid stole my point, is which cities are going to run out of water in the next few years? Well, obviously, we all read the newspapers, the articles. Cape Town, right? Cape Town is met. Anybody else know other cities, though, that are on the list? Bangalore. Bangalore, yes. New York. What else? London is on the list, and they get all this rain. London's on the list, right? Cairo. Somebody mentioned Egypt over there. My friend mentioned Egypt, but Cairo's on the list. So we've got cities that have got some serious, serious problems with water. Third question. Who consumes the most water per capita? Anybody know? Pretty close. UAE's right up there. Yeah, it's in the 550 to 600 liters per day. I was just trying to do some calculations the other day. Maybe some of you have done the same. How many towels are washed every day with all these hotels? You think one hotel, how many towels are laundered every day? How much water is used just to wash towels in the UAE? As somebody mentioned, all these hotels that we have here, for example. U.S., by the way, still is the top. They're in the high 600s, maybe 700 liters per day per capita. You know, the benchmark in the world is a lot of places only have 25 or less liters a day of water. And here's Cape Town, of course, it's down to quota of 50 liters. Some of you have got these plastic water bottles in front of you. Can you just hold up your water bottle? Yeah. Do you know how much water it takes to make the plastic? Does anybody know? Well, it's a bit, yeah, it's a bit wonky, the statistics, right? And you know, when you Google, you read 15 different things, and of course, what do you believe? Wikipedia's got something different again. But on average, folks, one plastic bottle of water takes 3 times more water. So if there's 1 liter of water, it takes 3 liters of water to make the plastic. And UAE is one of the highest consumers of bottled water and one of the highest generators of plastic bottle waste, of course, too. So, you know, it was interesting to hear this morning about some of the recycle, reuse projects that are going on to do something with this plastic. But it just shows you how much water is used to make plastic. And we all every day just take it for granted that water is not used in plastic. Plastic is made up of hydrocarbon source, but it takes water to do that. Next question. How many of you here are from the oil and gas sector? Oh, we're pretty limited. Oh, we have Abdul Rahim. Hi, Abdul Rahim. You're my old friend over there in the corner. Yeah, good. Your hand wasn't very high. And did you know that we in the oil and gas sector, we produce a lot of water? A lot of water. And that's what I'm going to talk about today, is what the oil and gas industry is doing today to deal with the water. I've been in industry for this is my 47th year. I'm an old man. I started in 1971 in this business. And I've seen a huge change in the 5 decades of how we manage water resources in the oil and gas industry. And I'm very proud to talk about that today, of these changes. I was talking to Captain Co over there earlier on. Your business is about water. In fact, in Saudi Arabia, you do a lot of that. Yeah, very good. And then the last question is do we know what to do with this water? Many of you in the audience are not part of the oil and gas industry. You maybe didn't know we produce a lot of water, but do you know what we do with the water? And what are the changes in the management of this water? As Dr. Rashid said earlier today, water is so precious. So, so precious. And it's becoming scarcer and scarcer and scarcer. But yet, there's so much of this water that's not usable. You know, 70% of the world's surface is covered by water, but only 3% of it actually is usable. But in the UAE, in the Middle East, we're extracting so much salt water, you know, saline, making for desalination, right? So we have to use that water source. But then what does that do? How does that upset the balance in things?